Hello, I'm Andrea from the Creative Dream Incubator, and this is Creative Dream TV. This is the third week that I'm doing these videos in this new format where I am not editing them and I'm sending them straight to YouTube as I record them. So if you noticed, when I first started this, I was explaining how this is different from what I normally do and why I wanted to do this, and it's kind of like a little trepidatious because this is something totally new to me and I'm not really sure how it's going to work, and I'm not really sure that I know what I'm doing, and it's very awkward to put yourself out there when you don't know what you're doing. It feels very vulnerable, it feels very uncomfortable, and that's just something that your dreams will ask of you, and that's something that my dreams have asked of me repeatedly, is to keep doing new things, keep trying new things, keep putting yourself out there in different ways, and get better and better and better at dealing with how you're feeling and using your feelings as a part of accessing the fullness of your superpower. So not avoiding the places that are uncomfortable and vulnerable, and just learning how to be more present with all of that so that you can do the things that your dream asks you to do. So one of the really cool things, see, there's a plane. If I was doing this when I was editing, I would stop recording for a while and wait for the plane to go, but I'm just going, and there's going to be noise because that's part of life, right? So one of the cool things that happened when I first put the video out, that was three weeks ago, of my first way of doing it this way, is that one of my longtime circle members, someone who's done coaching with me, she's been in all of my classes, she's been in the circle right from when it started, she left a comment saying that she really loved the new format, and she loved the oh gosh, now I can't remember the exact wording that she used, but something about the authenticity and the energy of me being kind of free and unedited, and she really appreciated that. So that was like the best feedback ever, because you know, the people who know me the best like it, or like someone who's been in everything that I've done, really appreciates this. I mean, that means a lot to me, and that tells me too that I'm on track with my dreams. You're never going to do something that everyone's going to like, right? Ever, right? And you can't be aiming to please everyone, or else you'd kind of end up so stretched out and oh, what's that word? Can't think of the word. You're stretched out. When you're stretched out and trying to please everyone, you also end up like weaker, like you're not as concentrated. So whatever the opposite of concentrated is, that's what you end up, and it just sort of really diminishes your power. So when your dream includes working with other people the way that my dreams do, you got to really focus in on who you want to make happy. So who is your ideal person that you work with? You want them to like what you're doing, but other people are not always going to like it. So I know not everyone likes this new format, but I'm feeling really good, and I'm feeling on track, and just knowing that some of the people who have been with me all along like this, and appreciate the kind of realness of me not being at all scripted, or not knowing what I'm going to say next. It does feel a little more authentic. This is what would happen if you came to visit, right? I wouldn't already have something planned to talk about. But I do, there's something that I wanted to talk about today, which is joy is an inside job. So I wrote about this on my blog last week, about how joy is a superpower, and I talked in there a little bit about the inner work of joy, and I wanted to talk about that a bit more because it comes up a lot. It comes up in my life all the time, because so many people say things to me about how, oh yeah, I'd be happy too if I had like a brand new fancy loft, or if I was my own boss, I would like that too, or if I could just go for bike rides every day, I would like that too. And they kind of focus on these external things that I have, and how those things must be the source of my joy. And we often get caught in that, right? Thinking, well, if I had more money, if I had more time, if I had the right space and support for my art, well, then I would be a lot happier. And happiness doesn't work that way. Joy doesn't work that way. Those qualities live inside of you, and it's about accessing more of them inside, and then creating space for those qualities to flow into your life, and then things do shift and change in the outer world that kind of support the happiness that you've created in the inner world. But because we only see the outer world, we tend to think it's all about what's happening in the outer world, and you're really operating without your power when you're trying to operate in the outer world. So your inner world, you can think of it as cause, and the outer world you can think of as effect. So cause, effect. So if you're messing around in the effects, like there's no power or strength in that, and no wonder you're not getting any happier doing that, and it's actually very stressful. If you haven't noticed, most programs or ways that people try to change themselves or their lives in order to be happier just create a lot of stress, and it's really uncomfortable, and they don't really work the way that they had hoped that they would. All right, and that's because you need to work in the world of cause, in the inner world. And when you create more space for happiness, when you look at what's going on in your relationship with these qualities, with joy, delight, happiness, love, looking at how they're flowing in your inner world, find out more about what they need and about what you need in order to have all of that kind of grooving more nicely together. You create those inner relationships, create stronger connections in those inner relationships, then it spills over into the outer. Then you get inspired to do something different or to try something new, or things just kind of come to you. And it's just, it's because when you do the inner work, you change your perspective, and you change it. You can change it so much, like it's surprising how much your perspective will change when you do this kind of inner work. And then it's like things suddenly seem really obvious that, of course, I want that, and then that makes you happier. So I have been sharing a lot about my new bike, which I'm still super happy about. It's been about 2.5 weeks that I have been riding my new bike every day, and it's just, especially now that spring is finally actually coming, and there's leaves on the trees, everything's getting green, and there's birds chirping in the mornings, and it's sunny and it's beautiful, and I'm just riding and just like, this is the best. Right? It makes me really, really happy. And so I'm doing that every morning. I'm sort of rearranging my schedule to make time to do that, and it's so cool. But if you had asked me, or if I had asked me, what can I do to be happier? Way back 3 weeks ago when I didn't have a bike, I would have said, I think a bike would make me happier. Even when I sold my car, I knew, and that's also a part of doing this inner work and paying attention to how you're feeling about things and how you really want to set things up in your life. I knew I didn't want a car anymore. Something about it didn't feel like joy. So I sold my car. I didn't buy a new car. I was also like, wow, this leaves me with a lot of questions about how do I want to get around? How do I want to buy groceries? All of that kind of stuff, right? The practical things of having a car. But it didn't feel like joy to have a car. And so I walked a lot. And then at that time, I never, even though some people suggest it to me, I never would have sold the car and bought a bike and thought that I could use a bike as transportation. That the whole concept seemed ridiculous to me. So just to illustrate this shift in perspective, when the bike idea came to me, something about it felt different. It felt like joy, even though I didn't know if I was even going to use it very much if I got one. And it was kind of a risk to get a bike, not knowing if I would really actually use it, not knowing what kind of bike I would want, not knowing anything about cycling, because I hadn't done it in 20 years. But it felt like joy on the inside, and it felt like a match to the inner work I was doing about bringing in more joy and more happiness and more love and more ways to love myself and my life, and more ways to set up my life in ways that feel more loving to me. Of course, that's everything that we're doing in the Love Your Life Creative Journal class. So when I'm working on a new class, I'm creating the energy energetic container for it ahead of time, so I do the work of the class. And this is just really, really cool, and I haven't found the right words to explain yet that how, see, I'm trying to find the words and they're not here, I'm grabbing them. Just how much your perspective shifts, and how like it's a powerful shift, and it's this strong shift, and suddenly like something else feels right. And if you follow that, follow your feelings about things, and then experiment with the ideas that come to you in that, then all these really cool things come in. So I'm cycling. I never thought I would have been cycling, and now it's like the happiest part of my day. Another thing is sewing. Sewing is something, and I know we're past 10 minutes, so I'm not going to go into a long story about sewing, but a short story about sewing is that I used to love sewing. I got a degree in fashion design from the best fashion design school in Canada. It was really, really stressful. It killed my creative spirit, and it killed my love of sewing. It killed my love of designing. I just wanted nothing more to do with it. I was creatively very, very wounded by the time I graduated. So now I've started sewing again, and I'm just having so much fun with it, and like I'm just re-experiencing sewing as a source of joy. And then specifically, the kind of sewing that I always loved to do for myself was the really easy sewing. So I would have all these things I liked to make that were easy and fast because I wanted it to be done right away, because I was excited to go and like have the thing. I didn't want to spend a bunch of time making it. So that's what's really changed. As I'm more in tune with my joy, I'm more patient, and I'm okay with moving slower, and I actually like working on details, and I love being in the process of it. So being in the process of sewing. I've started sewing shirt dresses, which is the last thing I ever would have made before, because I thought buttonholes were a fucking nightmare. But now it turns out, I don't know if I didn't realize this or forgot, but my new machine has a beautiful, beautiful buttonhole attachment thing, and it's like, it's automated. It measures the button, and then it makes a buttonhole for you, and it's just like so cool. So I'm just making like shirt dress after shirt dress, and really enjoying sewing these buttons on, and just noticing how before sewing was more about being really fast and making cute things, and now it's about really enjoying the process of creating. So it's just really cool for me to notice how things shift in my outer world when I'm firmly focused on the inner. Remembering inner is cause, outer is effect. I'm going to focus on the inner work of creating more space inside of me where happiness and joy and love can be and to stay, kind of creating invitations for more of these qualities to come into my inner world. These qualities are already the core of who you are. It's not like, you know, when I say inviting them in, they're already there, but it's bringing them in, being more grounded for them, letting them take up more space, right? Because we end up in our established patterns, and those patterns end up taking up a lot of space in our inner world, and they don't really need to. So it's just shifting things around, giving love and joy and happiness more room, and then just kind of being delighted at the things that actually change in your outer world, and the things that you find that you love when they're a surprise. This is something so delightful for that. For me, when the thing that I love is a surprise. So things like sewing buttons and riding my bike, right? 6 months ago, I would have told you were crazy if you told me I would like be really happy about doing these things. And now here I am, they're really, really thoroughly and authentically filling me up. So that is my little thing about how joy is an inside job. And I encourage you to think about remembering cause and effect. So whenever there's something you're feeling like you'd be happier if this would change or that would change, try to bring your focus back in. And where can I create more space for the qualities that I need on the inside? That's a complicated thing. We're doing this whole class about it in the Creative Dream Circle. So if you remember, we're starting on June 12th. So I'm going to lead you through some really, really cool things about that. We have like an hour and a half live video class, and then you get this huge playbook for playing with it. And It's a really, really cool thing. I'm really excited and looking forward to exploring this with you. And I will see you back here next week. Bye.